Hello folks, welcome to the video. Hope everybody's well. I'm just wandering along the canal bank. I'm going to have a little session here. I haven't fished this place for a while and I've discovered it's chock full of weed. I'll show you some of the footage in a second or two. Trying not to trip over this canal bank towpath. But yeah, we'll have a little day here. It's a nice, quiet, peaceful area, which I like. I like to kind of get away from it all, to be quite honest. And if I get one or two bites, great. Just as I'm walking back to the car to get my gear, because I did have a little recce up here, just had a little walk up, because I noticed when I put my head over the bridge there, it looked unfishable, but I've managed to find a spot. But this is a place called Withnell Fold. It's actually on the Withnell membership, and you can buy day tickets, which is what I've done today. You can actually buy through an app called Clubmate. I'll give you a couple of screenshots of that. The process of buying a ticket is quite easy, really. I think you've got to first of all register a Clubmate, which I've done a little while ago, and you can get membership to other clubs and day tickets through that app as well. And it's cost a £5 today, so not too bad. A day on the canal. The sun's shining at the moment, so hopefully that'll continue. Okay, let's wander back to the car, get my gear, get set up and show you what's what. So yeah, as I mentioned, this is Withnell Fold. I should have said really that it's quite close to Chorley. It's sort of between Blackburn and Chorley in Lancashire. This is the stretch, this is the access point, the bridge. I'll show you what I saw when I first came, which is basically the whole thing seems to be chock full of weeds. Now, one thing to note, if you bring in things like match gear and trolleys, is that there is a gate here that's actually usually locked. Fortunately, it's open today, because the only other way of getting onto the bank is through this kind of small, fairly narrow gate. And then there's a couple of steps, I'll just show you, just in case you're coming through at some stage. But yeah, there's a little couple of steps here to get actually down onto the canal. There we are. So just in case you bring in a trolley and whatnot, that's basically the access. You might be able to see just how choked up with weed the stretch is. Just wander down a little bit. I've seen a couple of that look like roach further up, but this weed that goes out from the bank here, we've got obviously lilies and whatnot, but it goes out for about 15 feet into the centre of the canal, and then there's just a shallow channel down the middle there. But yeah, I think it might be a tough day, but it's a beautiful place, beautiful area, so it's worth casting the line. It's very low is the canal. Obviously we haven't had any rain for a good while, and probably there's some boat restrictions, which means it's crystal clear as well. I have found a slightly wider area there that's kind of sheltered with these trees that I think is preventing some of the weed growth. So I think that's really the only spot I've got to have a go at today. So I've almost got set up. Just to show you a little setup, I've got my lovely little Shakespeare box, nice and light. Saves dragging a big matchbox with me. Baits today, I'm going to focus on worms really. There's plenty of worms here. I've also got some corn. And if I just move over to the left here, I am actually going to be mixing up some ground bait. Part frenzied hemp seed, worm flavour, and also I've got some nicely riddled black soil there as well, so I'm going to mix them roughly 50-50 and concentrate on that with the worm to start with. I'm going to be fishing a float, probably about halfway over. There's quite a lot of bankside disturbance along here with runners and cyclists and things like that, and obviously me boinging around at the moment. So because the water is very clear, I am going to target further across. I think as you get up towards the far bank it gets shallower and shallower, so I'm just going to set one line up to start with and then just take it from there. So just a quick overview of the gear I've got. I've got my little close face reel that I've had serviced, thank goodness, and it works again now, hurrah! And I've got it on a little midi 10-foot, it's actually a cart waggler, but it's quite soft, and the fact that it's 10 foot is quite handy. when you're fishing on a canal. And I've got a little Visiwag float there, a Drennan one. It's I don't know, is it 1.5 Visiwag? There we go. And I've got it bulk shotted round on the base of the float with number 6s, and then I've got a number 8 and a number 9 down the line. And the hook today is a Camasan B511 size 16, £2.11 or 0.12 mil. I have crushed the barb on that. It is a barbed pattern, but I've actually crushed it in the little pliers there. So there we go, that's the setup. And that's the swim. I've just been having a little cast around because there's lots of sort of floating weed and weed on the bottom, but I've managed to find a little clear spot. So I'm going to have a few casts. I'm not going to put any ground bait or anything yet. I'm just going to put a little worm on, chuck it out and see what happens. So yeah, welcome to the session. It's been a while since I did a YouTube video. I've had a little break from it, and it's been great bumping into people who recognise me from the channel, and I've had some really good conversations and yeah, some really nice comments. So thanks very much for that, and thanks to all the new subscribers as well. I'm going to try to start posting videos a bit more regularly now. There's been a few changes in my life. Well, yeah, I finished my job with the NHS, and I'm currently kind of job hunting. I've got something in the pipeline, hopefully. But yeah, I've just been focusing on that, and I've actually had a book project as well that I've done about walking, which is one of my other passions. So yeah, so getting back on the bank now, and I've picked this place because it's really nice and quiet. You get the odd walker and cyclist coming by, but it's sort of sat in the heart of the countryside between Blackburn and Chorley. A place called Withnell Fold, as I mentioned earlier, and I fished it for years really. And I just wanted to get away, you know, just get away from it all and just chill out, hopefully get 1 or 2 bites. So yeah, let's see how we get on. Pre-wetted the ground bait here, and I've left it for about 15 minutes. I'm now just going to sieve it through. It's quite handy little sieves, these, a little ball and sieve set. So just making sure you're not chucking these big lumps in, can you see, like that? They'll fill up a fish quite quickly. So there are all sorts of bits and bobs in this ground bait, but you can see that that's a much finer mix now. So mix that up. I'll cover this other ground bait up, keep it for later on. Dampen this up. Right, I'm not even bothered if I catch anything, to be quite honest. I just want to sit in the countryside for a while. Sun's shining, it's about 14 degrees, so it's not as hot as it has been over the last few months. The canal's very low, very weedy, very clear, so the chances of a bite are a bit slim, but what I always find is that there's often perch will have a go in these sort of conditions, because they're a visual hunter. If they see a worm dropping through the water, chances are they'll have it, so that's what I'm hoping for. Nothing on that cast. I have been having a little cast around, and the float wasn't settling. I think it was just sitting on weed. I have got these polarising glasses on, which are absolutely invaluable if you do fish, because you can see through the glare on the water's surface and see what's underneath, and I can see lots and lots of sort of well, clusters of weed. So I haven't put any ground bait in yet. What I'm going to do is just make sure I've got a clear spot, because you can plumb up and think everything's alright, and then you suddenly start feeding and you're realising for whatever reason you're now sat in a bunch of weeds. So nothing then. I'm also having a bit of problem sinking my line as well. But anyway, I'll stop moaning. I'm just happy to be here, sat in the countryside, to be quite honest. I think we do need it. It's been a bit of a stressful, well, they all seem stressful years, don't they, these days? But yeah, bills are going up and fuel's expensive and food's expensive, you name it. So to get away fishing is, well, for me, like an antidote to the world, really. So the float's kind of settling down a little bit now. Ooh, something else is top there. going on? Let's just fling a worm on it. Did seem like, I mean, it might be a roach or something like that. Oof. Right, so we've got a bit of activity. I am tempted to put a bit of ground bait in now, because it might be a shoaler fish that's sort of passing through. And yeah, a couple of fish just top then. Right, so I've mixed this ground bait up and give it a good sieve through. It's quite damp. I'm just going to gently squeeze it like that. And then I'm going to chuck a ball out there. That's about it. And all I'm going to do, I'll just put one in to start with. I can see the cloud falling down in the water. You probably can't see it on the camera. But I'm going to now cast over that. And I'll probably, because it is so clear, maybe regularly put this in just to create interest and attract fish, and also create a bit of like a safe haven, you know, where they feel a bit more safe. Anyway, that's the theory. Let's see what happens. Right, so I can see that ground bait still clouding in the water and kind of fizzing away a little bit. It's got, I think it's got ground hemp in it as well. I've got a bit of a problem sinking my line because I've got some weed between me and the floats, and when I sink my line it cuts into it. So right, well, the float's just settling now, and I had seen a couple of fish top. Let's see if they're interested in some worms. I will find things down in a little bit. I go in quite, I don't know, I suppose quite crude to start with. A big worm, biggish hook, thickish line, and I know in conditions like this, to get bites, often you've got to drop down to the finest hook links and the tiniest hooks and the smallest baits. That's what I'd do if I were fishing a match, but I don't fish many matches these days. And I just like to keep it simple really. As I say, I'm not desperate to catch lots of fish. I catch one or two and have a lovely day in the countryside. That'll do for me. So, biteless, probably 15 minutes or so. I've put one ball of that cloudy ground bait in. Reduce the size of the worm, but as yet, nothing's happening. So what I'm going to do now is, and if you've watched this channel before, you've seen that I'm a big fan of chopped worms, so I am actually going to chop some worms up in this worm whizzer. I'm going to put that in the ground bait, in another bowl of ground bait, and chuck that out, because it's remarkable sometimes. You can put some of this ground bait in and you not get a touch, but as soon as you put a bit of chopped worm in, bang, the perch are on it. So, that might be the famous last words, but let's see if that works, shall we? Okay, we'll get this mixed up, chopped up now, put a little blob in some ground bait and put another ball in and see what happens. Now, yeah, I just saw the little perchy. I just saw the float just moving to the right a little bit. Well, if you wanted any proof that chopped worm is a great bait, there we have it. Lovely little perch. There we go. See if I can get a close-up shot on him. There we go. And yeah, It's absolutely nailed that worm. And one of the things that perch always do is they swallow the bait often. So what I tend to use, just to show you, are these little tiny forceps with a curve on them, and they do make unhooking perch just like that very, very easy. So pop him back in the net, drop him back in the water. I'm not going to bother with any keep nets at the moment. I know when it's warm weather it's not a good idea to put fish in keep nets, so I'll just pop them back. Hurrah! I haven't blanked. Well, that's good. There we go. Chalkworm to the rescue. So I would expect a couple more fish, to be quite honest, but maybe I'm just getting greedy now. I did say I just have to have a bite. Was a bit of a tentative bite, that it was just, I just saw the float going to the right a little bit, like unnaturally. Didn't actually go under. And I just felt that the perch had grabbed hold of it. Ooh, sail away bite. Sail away bite, and I missed it. Right, try that again. Might be that I'm just grabbing the end of the worm, because it is a bit of a whopper of a worm compared with the hook size, that. So sometimes it's good just to give it a bit more time to take the worm as well. But I'm always a bit conscious that they do like to engulf it, and what I don't want to do is, you know, deep hook any perch, even though I've got my little curved artery forceps that make the job a lot easier. I don't really want to do that, but they will engulf anything, won't they? If you're lure fishing or anything like that, my goodness, they don't have to swallow stuff. There we go. Oh, blimey, that's a tiny one. That's a tiny one. Tiny, tiny little perch. Look on the action camera there. It's just we're shallowing up a little bit, and we've got a perch in the net, another one. We're on the hook. Right, so just going to stick this on the little hook holder. Just give you a bit of an update about a few other things that have been happening. So just to give you a bit of an update, I fished the National Angling Championships around about a month ago, down on the River Avon, the Warwickshire Avon, in Stratford upon Avon, where William Shakespeare was born. And yeah, it was a great experience. I didn't record it because I took so much gear with me, you wouldn't believe it. I've just been spending money left, right and centre, upgrading all my fishing tackle for this particular match. I don't usually fish matches these days, but I thought, why not? You know, it'd be a good opportunity to sort of push yourself out of your comfort zone, and also to fish on the Warwickshire Avon, where I've always wanted to have a go. So it was a tough day. I'll put a few pictures up. The headquarters was at Stratford, at a sports club in Stratford. The Angling Trust sort of coordinated and ran things, and the draw took place there. It was great to see all the top names of the top anglers, match anglers there as well. England internationals and former world champions and whatnot. So it was a really interesting day, interesting morning. Now, my draw took place, I was peg 100, and I got pegged in a place called Wasperton. So you had to sort of drive out a few miles from the headquarters to the stretch, and blimey, it was a beautiful stretch, quite shallow, quite weedy, very clear, absolutely burning hot day all day, really hot, and the fishing was extremely difficult. I thought probably about £30 would win the match, so I was like targeting big fish. I took worms, I took corn, I took meat, I took a few casters as well, but that was my plan, to sit it out for big fish, thinking that I'm going to need quite a lot of fish to frame or win. Chance of a fine thing. But anyway, the big fish didn't show up. I struggled, so did most people on my stretch, to be fair. I think the few pegs at the top caught some chub, but otherwise a lot of people just threw the catch bike. I had a perch after about 20 minutes and a dace, and that was basically, I had to just sit it out and commit for big fish that didn't show up. So I think my tactics were right. Only £15 or so won the match. Actually, Lee Kerry, England international, great angler, and congratulations to him. He actually won it with about, I think it was about 14 or 15 pounds, catching lots of small fish on the waggler. So I know that on my area I couldn't have actually caught that amount of fish. There didn't seem to be that number of small fish in my section. So I think I was right to stick it out and wait for the big one to turn up, but it didn't happen. But the experience was good. As I say, I couldn't really film anything because I had that much gear with me. You had to prepare for so many different types of swims. You had to take all sorts. So I had a trolley load of gear. My car was loaded up, and yeah, it was a bit of a grueler, to say the least. But it was a good experience. I think that you should challenge yourself from time to time and have a go at these things, and just see what these top flight match anglers get up to. It's great to see. And I think I'll fish next year. It's on the, I think it's the Grand Union Canal at Northampton next year. So I will put my name down for that when the tickets, they're about 35 quid, they come on sale next year. Give it a go, and maybe I'll take my camera if I can get better organised. The river's very different because there's so many different types of swims. You've got to take everything, so there was no real room for filming. But on a canal, maybe there'd be a chance to do that. So anyway, that's what I got up to a month ago, around about a month today. And yeah, although I didn't come anywhere near winning, it was a great experience. So yeah, back to the canal. Another great experience, hopefully, but we'll see. It's as tough as the River Avon. Big sort of weed structures under the... Ooh, that was a bite on the drop. Again, I'm getting one or two funny bites that perch are usually, when they get hold of a worm, they keep held on to it. But a couple of the bites that I've had seem sort of more reminiscent of roach, but just put a tiny worm head on. They might be just very small perch, just grabbing hold of it. Let's put that little, it's about the size of a maggot, that. I didn't actually bring any maggots today because, well, I went into the tackle shop. Oh, that's a bad cast as well. Smashing into the water. Again, I'm just going to leave my line mostly on the surface there. See if I can get away with it for a bit. Again, seems to be hanging up in the water. Now again, could be fish hanging onto it, not letting it settle. That was a bite. Yeah. Now, what is this? Oh, it's tiny. Tiny micro perch. Well, I think that might explain what some of the bites have come from. So, let's unhook this little devil. Bite's a bite though, isn't it? Beautiful little thing. Let's plop it back gently. There we go. Not able to fully sink my line because of that weed, but see if I can get away with it. As I say, as the sun's moved round, I can see the bottom pretty much all the way to halfway across. Ooh. Oh, there we go. Another little perch. Tiny things. There we go. Snaffled that. Flop him back. Well, they're not the biggest perch in the world, but to be quite honest, on a day like today, I don't mind. Just popped another couple of bowls of that cloudy ground bait with a little tiny bit of chopped worm in, and I dropped my floating right in the edge here, and a little perch grabbed hold of it. See if I can entice one again. Where's it gone? I think that these little perch are tucked away under the banks of weeds. Oh! There we go. I don't need to fish out there, I can fish under my feet here. Little perch. Oh, there we go. Yeah, they just I think just hiding amongst this weed and probably just dart out. We're having a laugh, aren't we? Go on. I mean, I can't see any perch when I'm sort of watching it, but oh yeah, I can actually. It's surprising that you sort of watch a little while, you can just see the odd bit of movement. So I can see my worm dropping through the water. Just have a little bit of fun, see if you can. Oop. Oh, yeah. This one's been a greedy devil. Do sure it's one up to alright. Yeah, they must be. It's surprising. I'm looking. I can see the bottom. It's crystal clear, and can't see anything. But they just sort of come out of nowhere. Let's have another go. I'm a kid at heart, you see. Just like we used to do when we were 10 years old. It didn't actually move the float tip. All it did then, I could just see the worm sort of disappear. And with these polarising glasses I can actually see all the way down to the bottom here. You never know, do you? I mean, there might be decent fish just tucked under these weeds. You think there's actually nothing in front of you, and then we'll just have one more little go. See it falling through the water. Well, I've given up fishing down this edge, caught a couple of perch just for a bit of fun. I'm back out there now where I put that cloudy ground bait. So although it's not the most exciting kind of fishing here at the moment, it's good fun, and I think I had quite low expectations. I was hoping just to get a bite or two, to be quite honest. Conditions are tough, but for me today it's just about getting on the bank and just escaping the rat race for a while, and the stresses of the news and the doom and gloom. So if you do like canal fishing, I've got a playlist. You'll see it in the little description below the video. I've got various other playlists as well, but there's one dedicated to canals, and you'll see some of the nice fish that I've caught over the last year or two. Well, another little micro perch. Just dropped it in close in front of me. I haven't had any bites further across, and just plonked it in front of me. And a couple of perch came out, and that one grabbed it. Look at those colours though, even though it's small. At the moment, float's static. Oh. Well, another of the tiniest perch. Blimey. Right, time for a bit of lunch. Scotch eggs and a brew. Have a few minutes. There we go. And then we'll just have a few more casts. But as the sun's come up, it's got a lot tougher, so let's have a little break and a brew. Cheers. Blimey, look at the size of that. So I just thought I'd have a little walk along the canal. It's so clear, you can basically see the bottom all the way across. And it's interesting just to see different features. Big weed bed here. A little bit clear across there, I think where the trees prevent the weed from growing. Massive bank of weed here. Wondering if I can spot any fish. But blimey, it's got thicker and thicker here. I think I chose the right place to fish, because there just seemed to be a channel there, but I think, I mean, you could fish it with a pole, but with a rod and line you'd be drawing your float and your hook right into all this weed that's in front of you. It goes out about, I don't know, 12 feet, something like that. It's great habitat for fish, but yeah, very difficult to fish in. Even in the middle I can see big banks of weed as well. I haven't spotted any fish yet. Very, very weedy. Very lovely setting though. Field full of cows there. English countryside. Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful stretch. Well, there is a lovely little perch. I can actually, let's put that back. Now that the sun's come up, I can actually now see right where I'm fishing, and I can just see that there is a clear patch, but I can see the bottom. So I've shallowed up once again, despite putting a bit more ground bait in. I've had no more bites, so I'll just experiment with the depth. I just think that bright sunlight's just made them run for cover. They're tucked away into these banks of weeds and things now.
Living the dream, you are.
That's all you, pal. Well, I'm going to call it quits there. It's been a tough old day. It's been a heck of a challenge on this canal today. Not surprising with the water clarity and the bright sunshine. It has clouded over a bit now. And the low, it must be, I don't know, 2 foot lower than it normally is. So it's been a tough one, but it's been a good day. It's not really been about trying to catch loads of fish or big fish today. The most important thing for me today has just been getting on the bank and getting some fresh air, sitting in the countryside, listening to the bird song and getting a few bites. So I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please subscribe, give it a like, and I'll see you on the next video. Thanks.